One planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marclainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in this beautiful world of ours. I'm Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector. Welcome to Metaphysical Mocha Mondays, where we are broadcasting in a different format, different camera angle, different lighting. Got my co-host here, Baby Yoda, and I thought I would just come on Zoom because we're going to be bringing a special guest on today in the Healing Cafe, and so I wanted to just try this through Zoom, which we tried to do last week. So there is a little bit of a delay between here and Facebook Live, so I understand that. So we're going to do our best to answer your questions later today in the Healing Cafe, which will start at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But this morning for today's Metaphysical Mocha Mondays, if you're new to the show, welcome. I'm here every Monday morning or most Monday mornings. It's a weekly inspirational show full of encouragement, motivation, positivity, how to live your life again. I always say a lot of spiritual awesomeness or spiritual prospecting for your own spiritual gold. If you want to get on the page, you can subscribe, you can like, you can share out. That would be fantastic. I hope that it's broadcasting okay. It looks like, let's see here. Let me just double check. Make sure there's a video. Okay, so it does look like it's delayed probably by a few minutes or so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the video up over here. So bear with me. These are all new features. Oh, here's what I can do. I can do side by side. So I've got a big enough monitor where I can go side by side, and that will make this really cool to do. So give me a second here. I'm working new things, new lighting, new technology coming through Zoom. So for many years, I've broadcasted through my iPhone, with microphones and lighting. And what's nice about the Zoom platform is I can bring people live onto video. I used to be able to do that back in the day, but for some reason, Facebook changed its algorithms. So we're going to give this a go. We're going to give it a try. This morning, the message that I want to talk about, given everything that's going on in this very crazy, chaotic, upside down world that we're going through, is I wanted to give you some things to help you ease your anxious mind, if you will. So these are things that I do. These are things that I focus in on. Let's see here. Let's bear with me here. Sorry. I'm getting used to all these different features. So one of the things, for anxiety, for those of you that suffer anxiety, it wasn't something that I was ever really taught about, especially as a guy. And later in life, after my retirement from the fire service, after some PTSD from the trauma and tragedies of losing my brothers to murder and brain cancer, my father-in-law to MS, all at the same time, I really started to notice having some depression and anxiety. And of course, grieving counseling always helps. Counseling helps. Hypnotherapy helps. Biofeedback helps. But nobody was really teaching me how to cope with everything that's going on. And I thought this morning during meditations that I'd come on and I would talk about how to ease your anxious mind. And, meditation is definitely one form of easing the anxious mind. The mind can get very anxious, especially if it's stimulated by external environment. And right now, there's a lot of stimulation going on in our external environment. With COVID-19, the division in politics, global events, weather events. It's just like, can we get through 2020 already? Please, let's get through 2020. So this morning, I just wanted to come on, and I apologize for being late. Again, I'm trying something new through the Zoom platform. I changed my camera angle, so I'm talking more. It used to be up, and so I brought it down a little bit. But one of the things that I always start with that I found in my journey is this is celery juice. And celery juice is really good there's a lot of nutrients. Actually, celery is made of a lot of water, but there's a lot of nutrients in here. And for any of you that follow the medical medium, he's always talking about celery juice. So if you want to start bringing down your anxiety, start juicing, so this is celery juice and apples. And I process that in my little, my little juicer, if you will. And I usually start that off, but I also start off with a nice cup of coffee. So it wouldn't be Metaphysical Mocha Mondays without a nice cup of coffee. So thanks for being here this morning. Take a breath with me. Let's move into the magic of the moment. Let's talk about how we can deal with anxiety, especially anxiety to deal with everything that you're going on, whether you're a parent staying at home, raising your children, educating your children, with the isolation, with just the stresses of the relationships that you might be having, or maybe you've lost a family member and you couldn't be with them during this COVID-19. So one of the things that I teach on for calming the anxious mind, it's like a bunch of drunken monkeys running around in your head, is to slow down. Take the time to disconnect so you can have the time to reconnect. And what I mean by that is just, maybe you have to, just stop some of the thoughts that are racing through your mind. And that can really, I found that when you chase a thought down the rabbit hole, it can really lead you down into a dark place, places of negative thinking, self-sabotage, self-critic, the ego, if you will. And so one of the things that I teach on is to slow down, take the time to disconnect so you have the time to reconnect to yourself, reconnect to your family, reconnect to the world, reconnect to whatever is important to you. You can do this by just the power of breath and even your facial expression. So you just take a nice deep breath in, breathe in what you want, exhale what you don't. Just put a grin on your face, just makes you feel, it's not going to maybe change the situations that you're going through, but it will make you feel better. And another way that you can, slow down is practice an attitude for gratitude. What are the things that you are grateful for? So right now, there's a lot of anxiety that I've been dealing with what I see in the world, what I saw coming for months. I've predicted a lot of what is unfolding from numerology. It's the year of the four, called the Master Builder, which means I knew that there was going to be a lot of things that were going to transform and change, because in order to be a master builder, you have to tear things down of old in order to build a new. And that's where we're going, and we'll get there to the great coming together. But the few months ahead of us are going to be very intense, very historical. I'm afraid very violent. And just for those of you that are new to my work or follow my show, I'm not a doom and gloom kind of psychic medium. I'm not a fear-based psychic medium, but I am a realist. And there's a lot of things that I predicted back in my January podcast of Inspired Living Radio, where I talked about the 4 things that are going to unfold during the year of 2020. The great coming together, but in order to have a great coming together, there's usually some sort of big falling apart, right? Sustainability, sustainability for us as a society and how we treat people, equality for all, sustainability for our planet. Our planet is healing. The third word was self-mastery of ourselves, self-mastery of what we can control and what we can't control. And a lot of times we can't control our external environment. All we can do is control how we respond to those things. That's your only control that you really have. And of course, the fourth was about homeostasis. And homeostasis is a medical term for the nervous system, because the nervous system is either in fight or flight, and homeostasis is finding that center path of peace. And you can find that homeostasis or that peace, or to reduce anxiety, by just slowing down, taking the time to disconnect so you have the time to reconnect. The next one that I like to talk about is just do a reality check. The reality check is really good. Just ask yourself, is what I'm seeing before my eyes real? There's going to be a lot of misinformation. There already is a lot of misinformation out there with the internet, with social media, Photoshops, stories that are not real, that get, it's that quote of a lie gets halfway around the world before you even have time to put your pants on. And we're seeing a lot of that. So do a reality check. When I get presented with something or I see something, I usually have a few sites that I go to: factcheck.org, politics.org, snopes.com. I have a whole list of just, is this true? Is this what I'm seeing, or is this misinformation? Is this propaganda, or is this just straight up lies? We're seeing a lot of cognitive dissonance, which, if you're not familiar with that term, that's in the same lines of gaslighting. Cognitive dissonance is believe in a fact, or believe in something even though you were presented with facts and what you believe is actually not true, and it creates this disruption of, you're going to fight for your belief no matter what. So do a reality check. If you want to limit anxiety, if you want to reduce anxiety, do a reality check with yourself. Ask yourself, is this absolutely true? And this goes internally with your mind. Ask yourself, is this thought, what I'm thinking, actually true? Because not everything that you think is accurate or true. So have a self-talk with yourself, have a self-chat with yourself, do a spiritual reality check is what I like to call it. Chances are they're just your own worst fears coming into your mind. And for me, fear is false evidence appearing real. We're the only species on the planet that creates our own fear, drama, and worry. So think about that for a second. There is real fear, but in my past, in my careers, I realized that fear, you're going to do one of 3 things: fight, flight, or freeze. So those are, when you're presented with a real fear-based energy, that's how the body responds. Anything outside of that is created right here. So we think, therefore we are. So we're very intelligent creatures, but at the same time, I wonder how intelligent we are. It's almost, intelligence and ignorance. So do a reality check with yourself. Ask yourself, is what I'm thinking true? Is that actually accurate? Release that critic. I always talk about that inner critic, the self-sabotager. I always ask people, who's the one person that you talk to the most in your life? Think about this for a second. The answer is yourself, you. And if you are having very negative conversations with yourself, if you're having, self-critic conversation with yourself, then your focus determines your reality, and that's the path you'll go down. So really limit or interrupt or drop the inner critic, the self-sabotager, the ego. We all have ego. And just say, may I learn to be kinder to myself? May I learn to pay it forward? May I learn to carpe diem? May I release this negative thought? What we do in my spiritual development group is, the first thing when you come as a visitor, we ask you to name your ego. And by doing that, when you can name your ego, you can identify what your spiritual path of development and learning is. And then you can also realize what your mind is trying to tell you. So you got to remember that you're not just a a physical being here in a flesh suit working a 9-to-5 job. You're more than that. You're a physical being. You're an energetic being. You're a mental being. You're an emotional being. You're a spiritual being. And so just, think about how to release that inner critic to help reduce anxiety. I like to get out in nature. You'll notice behind me, I've got a lot of backdrops with my nature. Of course, I always have a lot of Star Wars stuff because I've always believed in the Force. I believe that we are symbiotic, related to nature and to each other. And what we do to one, we do to all. Nobody is better than another person, regardless of the color of your skin, regardless of your sexual orientation, or regardless of, what sex you are. There's a lot of truths that are coming out. There's a lot of transformations that are coming out, including, Black Lives Matter, racism, systemic racism. And I was watching the mother of the gentleman that was shot in the back 7 times the other day, and her speech was very powerful. And it just, she was so right on. We are all human beings. No one is above another person. Some may think that they are, but that's an ego base. But I believe personally, this is going to be part of the great coming together that we're going to see, and the great transformations we're going to see. And what I like to do is I like to get out into nature. I like to take the time to disconnect, so I have the time to reconnect and connect to nature, because nature is our greatest teacher, our greatest engineer, our greatest inspirer, our greatest healer. And if you don't believe in the power of nature, then ask yourself why you're sitting inside in quarantine from this pandemic that is global. It's not fake. It is real. Some people will refuse to believe that this is real and not wear a face mask, which is fine. I won't be around you. But again, that's just the power of free will and choice. And you see people that are going to be very ignorant on this. I choose to follow science and my intuition, but other people, follow who they listen to, or they follow their belief systems. So I like to get outside. I like to connect to nature. I like to hug a tree. I like to lay down. Even here when I'm in Seattle, just lay down and look up. And when you look up and you connect to the stars, and you connect to the moon, and you connect to, I saw Orion's belt for the first time. The Big Dipper's on the other side of us. When you connect to that, you realize just how small you are. You may think that you're a big wig or a big fish in a small pond, but in the global scheme of things, you really are not. We're very, very small. And when you connect and realize just how small you are, it helps you to release some of that anxiety. And so, lie down, look up, do some cloud watching. We used to do that as kids just to kind of get away from, that's why people go to movies. That's why I love movies. Movies are a great escape from our reality. It helps us to release, and you can do that with nature just by getting on the ground and looking up. So today I'm talking about ways to reduce anxiety, ways to connect, ways to heal, ways to transform. I started off with just a nice glass of celery juice, celery and Fuji apple. And the other thing that I like to talk about is, we talked about doing reality checks. Check in with yourself. What are your thoughts telling you? Come to your senses. Like, okay, use your 5 senses to, see it, taste it, touch it, hear it, smell it. But when you develop your spiritual body, you start to move in not just to your 5 senses. You start to develop your clairs, clairvoyance, clairsentience, claircognizance, sense of knowing, sense of feeling, sense of seeing. These are clairs that we work on. I've been working on for over 15 years now. And so when you start to come to your senses, you can just take a few minutes just to connect through the power of breath. Breathe in and just see what your mind does. It helps to reduce anxiety. The power of breath is so important. And think about it, guys. First thing you do when you come to this physical world, when you incarnate into the physical form, you take that powerful breath full of energy, full of life, through prana, life force energy. And you've been breathing liquid for 9 months. And then all of a sudden you've transformed and now you're breathing air. And what's the last thing you do when you leave the planet? And you decarnate, move into whatever your belief system is, heaven, spiritual world. I call it Summerland, the afterlife. You always have to exhale. The lungs always have to release. So the power of breath, of inhalation and exhalation, are very powerful, very healing, very transformative. And, it helps you to come to your senses by the power of breath. We do it in my group all the time. I do it daily. Soma breath, SOMA, has been very transformative. My counselors turned me on to that, and it's been very beneficial, very healing and releasing grief and anger over, the past, the traumas and the tragedies that we all have a story to tell. And the only reason I do this show, guys, is I'm just sharing my experiences and my stories with you, and hope in hopes that it inspires you, it encourages you, it motivates you, maybe brings a sense of healing. And we'll move into the Healing Cafe in about 5 minutes and get ready to just do some readings. It could be mediumship, could be psychic. You never know what you're going to get in the Healing Cafe. It's like literally a spiritual box of chocolates. I like to just say it's spiritual awesomeness. So thanks for joining me this morning. I hope that you're enjoying a nice cup of coffee or a cup of tea. I hope that you're working with your own anxiety. If you've not subscribed to the page, please do so and get on with the over 30,000 followers of this page. I'm so honored and humbled and just really, wow, I never thought that I'd have one person follow me, let alone 30,000. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Share out, invite in, share to other pages. That's how this page has grown to 30,000, is through the power of grassroots connection with people, people around the world, people like yourself, people that are looking for that spiritual gold. But we got to do a little bit of spiritual prospecting. That's the prospector right behind me. Is we've got to put in, the laws of creation. The 5 laws of creation talks about what you put in, you get out. So we've got to do that. So just to recap, celery juice and apples processing is really good for reducing the toxins in your body and also bringing down anxiety. Take the time to disconnect so you have the time to reconnect. Slow down. You can do that through the power of breath. Come to your senses. Use your 5 senses. Use those senses to navigate the external world, because the external world, guys, does have a great impact on your internal being. Do your reality checks. Ask yourself. Have conversations with yourself. Is this true? Is what I'm hearing and seeing true? And you'll know if it's a lie or propaganda or misinformation, because it usually hits me here. For those that follow your intuition and can trust your gut, when you see BS when it's in front of you. Work on releasing that self-sabotager, that inner critic, if you will. Take the time to connect to nature, sky watch, star watch, whatever, get a telescope and just look at the other planets. The other thing that I like to talk about is just know your triggers, know who or what triggers you. I posted the other day, do you want to be at right or do you want to be at peace? When I started to get into social media, I'd post something and even something be positive. Somebody would come and have a different opinion about it, which is fine. I totally support the First Amendment under the Constitution, freedom of speech. But at the same time, I found that there's a lot of negative people out there and a lot of negative comments. And, I'll say that, the sky is blue or my shirt is blue. And somebody will say, well, that's an ugly shirt, or that you shouldn't be wearing that, or the sky is not blue. The sky is actually a combination of colors. So, know your triggers, because you can get really easily triggered on social media through Facebook, through Twitter. I don't even really do Twitter anymore. I pretty much Facebook and Instagram. And I've even thought about going off Facebook, to be honest with you guys, just because I try to bring positivity into our arena, into our world. I'm inspired by my Myers-Briggs profile. And it's just amazing how mean, divisive, and ignorant people can be when you're trying to do good. So know your triggers. It used to trigger me. It doesn't anymore. I've got, Baby Yoda here now he's on this side. Baby Yoda here just arrived to help me get through this. He's my therapy dog since I don't have a dog. But just know your triggers. That trigger mindset can actually trigger the anxiety to increase. And so, this can be done by relationships. It can be done by your job. It can be done by family. It can be done by friends. It can be done by social media. It can be done by politicians. We're seeing a lot of triggers right now. So last but not least is just take the time to listen to people. That's why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. We need to talk less, listen more. I'm kind of thinking of the song from Hamilton, talk less, smile more. I got a blue jay that just arrived. Interesting. But listen, because when you listen to other people, a lot of people don't realize the difference between an argument and a debate. Argument is just people yelling over each other. And we see a lot of that in today's society, unfortunately. So take the time to listen to people. Be kind, be caring, be compassionate. That can take you a long way. You'll feel better about yourself by giving more, paying it forward. The golden rule, the golden circle. As a spiritualist, I follow the golden rule, the golden circle. It's not always easy, because some of the hardest things you have to do as a spiritualist is smile in the face of somebody that's being negative or divisive or being a bully. But you always got to stand up to bullies, guys, as John Lewis talked about. Sometimes you got to get into good trouble, and that's very important. So just some ways to help you deal with your anxiety, which if you increase or if you decrease your anxiety, it also helps to find a better positive life, a better focus on what you see, but it also helps bring down depression, suicide thoughts. And I just want to say thank you for tuning into today's show. Like I said, I was a little bit late. We're going to head over to the Healing Cafe. So we'll be back here in just about 1 minute. We'll be opening the phone lines. I'm also going to have a Zoom link, so you might be able to come in and have a Zoom conversation with myself and my special guest that's going to be joining us here in just a few minutes. So have a great day, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Until our next soul adventure together, be kind, be caring, be compassionate, and most importantly, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. I'll see you next time on Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. Take care, everybody. Namaste.